Hey, we're back. This is John.
It's Paul.
And it's Eric.
And it's What If Geeks, so we're already off cue. Welcome to the fourth annual Geeky Awards. We it's a Muppet Show. So for anyone who has not seen the previous three Geeky Awards, every year, you get your annual awards of Grammys and Tonys and Oscars and whatever. And whenever the Oscars come out, the three of us said a while ago that we just don't agree with their picks for these best movies, whatever. There's nothing for our culture, really. This year they actually did fan favorite movies, so there was a nice little nod, but whatever. So we decided we were going to have like our own award ceremony, and you can either like them or not, play along or not, or whatever. It was basically just three of us deciding what we think is best. But within our culture of geek shit, superheroes and sci-fi and all that kind of shit, and we give out random awards. Some awards continue from year to year, and other awards we go, "Ooh, what about this?" Because none of us remembers what the fuck's going on from day to day. And speaking of which, we wouldn't have even remembered that we had to do these Geeky Awards this year. Had some little thing not happen during the Oscars.
Did something happen?
Yeah. I think I coined that quote, and I just said, keep our podcast in your fucking mouth. Right. Yeah, I don't know. All right, so
the Fresh Prince slapped the zebra from Madagascar.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on in the world anymore.
It was like a literal slap heard around the world there, though.
That's what they're calling it. Yeah. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock for a dumb G.I. Jane joke that he made about Jada. And if you're living under a rock, then there you go.
There's actually been some weird fallout since too, right? So a
lot
of people were saying, take his award back. Right. And people were saying take his award back and shit. Apparently he had been asked to leave after he did that and he refused. And I guess, I don't know why, but they didn't throw him out. So let him go get his award. But then after it was all over and he kind of issued an apology, he resigned from the association so that he wouldn't be eligible for any awards ever again in the future. I mean,
what I wanted to do before we got into that part was, did it look staged or not?
Because it certainly did at first.
Incredibly staged. It looked very staged. His reaction time, first of all, he laughed at the joke. Basically, Chris Rock looked at Jada from the stage, saw like her shaved head, which she suffers from alopecia. Is that how you say it? Right. So natural hair loss. He said, "Jada, love you. Can't wait for G.I. Jane 2." Will Smith initially was laughing at it, but Jada kind of did this little look. And then next thing you know, Will Smith is walking up to the stage, slaps the taste out of Rock's mouth. Rock is kind of like, at first he reacted like, like there's going to be a bit. And then he gets slapped in the face. And then Will Smith sits down and yells, "Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth," twice. And then Chris Rock is left to carry on with the show. To me, the whole thing looks staged, except for the part where Chris Rock was trying to carry on with the rest of the show. He literally sounded like a guy that just got slapped in the face and didn't know how to make it okay for that show.
And not just slapped, but slapped in the face in front of, 50 million people.
Right. That was the part. So I was like, I looked at, and it's been all over the internet, whether or not it was staged. So I've seen all the articles. People that were like, look at Chris Rock's body, the way he tucks into the hit, like it was all staged, like they're both actors, right?
You ever seen Chris Rock? You ever seen Chris Rock in a movie?
Yeah.
He's not that good.
Not a good actor.
He's one of my favorite stand-ups.
Actually, no, that probably
not me.
That's all he's got to say about
that. I want that screenshot right there of John. He's trying to sell me. It's like he's trying to sell me a TV.
No, he wants you to join the army.
Yeah, there it is.
Uncle Sam needs you.
Right. Keep going.
I'm sure he'll be back in a minute. I am gonna screenshot that.
I'm back. Sorry.
That's all right. We're
So
waiting patiently.
yeah, all right. So basically,
I was trying to turn you into a meme, actually.
thanks. I was like, was that it? Is that it right
Yeah.
there? Yeah. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
All right. So where the fuck do we leave off? Chris Rock got slapped in the face.
I said he's not that good an actor to be able to fake that moment, like when he tries to carry on after getting slapped, like he's not that
Right.
great.
So Chris Rock can't act the way of a paper bag, but here he is trying to carry on this fucking award show. Still, I don't know. I mean, could it have been fake? Maybe. I mean, there's a lot of evidence
not-
to the fact that it was fake.
But there's not like you would think there would have been, he rears back, he hits him, and Chris Rock's like, motherfucker, right? And pushes him, right? They scrap. But I also realize that he's aware that he's on live television in front of the entire world. And so he's not going to start, he can't imagine that they're friends, like they're actual friends. Like he can't imagine that his friends coming to the stage to hit him, even when he pulls his arm back, but he's like, I don't understand what's happening. I'm also aware I'm on television. We're not going to, this is not going to be mayhem.
Yeah, because a few days after that, I was like, it all looks staged. And I was agreeing with nobody's talking about the Oscars. You would never know the Oscars going on, blah, 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 right? But then I started thinking about how he reacted after, and he was kind of like falling over his own words, trying to figure out what to say. And like you said, they're friends. And the key to it, and okay, sidebar, all the memes after were fucking amazing. Like, keep my wife's name out of your mouth, but don't keep anybody else's dick out of her mouth. Sorry. Yeah, he's gonna open up my door in a second. But like Chris Rock went on stage for a show shortly after that, like a couple of days later, and did like he just kind of like he made a small comment about basically like, look, he came out, he said, so how was everybody's weekend? And everybody laughed, and he was like, that's it, that's all I'm gonna say. I had a whole set list, I had a whole show already written before anything happened this weekend. I'm moving on. And that was it. I've seen articles on both sides of it where he's still pissed off and trying to deal with things and whatever. But the other thing that tells me that this was real was the fallout after. Like we said, the Academy said they wanted him to leave, Will Smith to leave, and he didn't, whatever. And be that as it may, he came out and said he was withdrawing from the Academy. Was that him withdrawing from the Academy because they said, either you're going to save face and withdraw, or we're going to kick you the fuck out?
Yeah, and we're taking the Oscar back.
I don't actually think so. And the only reason I say that is because after he resigned, the board put out a statement saying that they were still, deciding whether or not they were going to take any action against him. I'm like, okay. I feel like if they made a deal, they would have just dropped it.
Might have also been a knee-jerk reaction by them to try to cover
I read, I think earlier this week that he checked himself in or whatever to like a celebrity stress camp or something.
Well, that's the other thing too. And what also made me think it was fake was because like not a little while later, he wins the Oscar for Best Actor for his portrayal of Serena Williams' dad, right? And he comes up there and his speech kind of has to do with what he did, where he's like,
I took
much
that.
like him, I'm a fierce defender of my family and this and that. And I was like, that seems kind of contrived for something that just happened.
I was thinking the opposite. That was actually the point where I was damn sure that it wasn't.
Oh, all right.
I felt like he was trying to indirectly apologize for what he just did and just say, oh, lots of stress in this job. You're supposed to smile and act like you don't care. And I felt like all that stuff was like his way to say, okay, I shouldn't have done that, but without saying I shouldn't have done that.
Right. And the last thing I'll say about like when I thought it was fake was it was the whole like when he was laughing and then she side-eyed him and his reaction seemed so quick that I was like, to me, it didn't seem like there was enough time. But then at the same time, I was like, now that I've thought about it with everything else that's been going on, I'm like, well, I mean, if somebody's talking shit about your wife and you realize she's upset, your reaction is probably going to be pretty quick. But the rest of the fallout that I was
he could have just
about,
screamed. He could have just screamed, "Fuck you!"
That
right?
should have been what he did.
Oh no. Your reaction should be equal to the offense, right? Chris Rock was using words, you use your words, or however you want to say it, right?
Yeah.
You don't get up and slap somebody. I get that, but the rest of the fallout that happened was he's had multiple projects pulled now. So there are like other people outside of the academy that are reacting to this. He has something on Netflix that they're not going to release now, or Apple TV. There were a couple of different projects. Have you guys seen this?
I didn't know that they were canceled, but I mean, I had read that things were being delayed or whatever. So,
there was supposed to be yet another Bad Boys movie in the works that has been like basically scrapped and shelved for the time being. There was something else that's in post production that they're shelving, and something else he was working on that just got canned.
Yeah, so Netflix and Sony both said they were halting projects with Will Smith. That includes Fast and Loose, which he was going to direct for Netflix. Bad Boys 4, which he was, of course, going to star in.
Not a big loss there.
No.
Emancipation, which was made for Apple Plus movie.
That was the one. I think that's already like done.
Yeah, that one had already been completed, so I think they were saying that they were going to pause and not release it, but they might still release it, but it was a pause, not a kill it. No, that's what I'm reading anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. So,
well,
I just saw your meme. Thank you.
That's how you froze.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I'm gonna use that somewhere. All right. Yeah. So, all right. I'm gonna go with it was real. I mean, just because of the fallout. But kudos to Chris Rock because I would never had that fucking composure.
Right.
I mean, and I agree with Paul. I mean, the guy knew he was on live TV in the middle of this gigantic award show, and he couldn't react. He looked like he wanted to for a second, but he didn't. So kudos to him. On the flip side of on the reaction side for me, I agree with a lot of people now where I've got a lot more respect for Chris Rock and a whole lot less respect for Will Smith. He was already kind of like annoying to me. Like we used to talk about like any movie he was in, like Suicide Squad or whatever. Yeah. I was like, it's gonna be the fucking Will Smith show, right? Mm-hmm. He already annoyed me. Now I have no respect for him. I'm like, dude, you gotta control it. Yeah. And here's the thing too, like back in the day, I really liked him. And I thought he was a great guy. But his whole thing with Jada and all that, whatever the hell open relationship that he claims to have, he's got to get his shit in check because he's fucked up. And I don't know what the hell the problem is. Well, I mean, I know what the problem is, but it's fucking being a celebrity for so many years and just maybe Scientology too. I don't know. But something to be said in there. He's all jacked up. So, all right, are we done with Will Smith? Can we be done with him?
Yeah, can we get started now?
Yeah. All right, we got that out of the way. All right, on to the actual reason why three of you are here. On to the geekies. So for 2022, I guess we're covering about the same amount of time that the Oscars covered. So like most of 2021 is what we decided, right? Because COVID kind of fucked us up last year, so
Yeah.
we tried to fix it this year.
COVID screwed up the timeline because a lot of stuff that was supposed to come out in 2020 did not, and so we took some stuff that had started the first part of 2021,
Right.
but not all of it. So things that came out, summertime, we didn't put in last year's awards, right? So like Falcon and Winter Soldier or some of that stuff,
Right.
did not appear last year.
And then when we started writing this one, we started including everything that we've been watching like we did last year. And then we're like, no, wait, let's go back to how we normally do things.
Yeah.
So basically this is going to cover
essentially 2021.
Yeah, this is going to cover 2021. So without further ado, our first award will go to the best gadget. Eric, you want to read the nominations?
Sure. And the nominees are Boba Fett's Gaffy Stick, the one he creates after his drug-induced lizard up the nose experience. The rings from Shang-Chi. The dark saber, which is a bit of a cheat, but we're gonna have it here anyway because it really got a lot of showing for 2021.
Well, yeah, and you learn more about it in Boba Fett. So,
and then although it's not a single gadget, Hawkeye's trick arrows from the Hawkeye series, because he had a hell of a lot of them, and there were some pretty cool effects there. So for me, this is actually really easy because I feel like the way they did the rings in Shang-Chi was uber fucking cool, way better than I ever expected, and it just looked smooth as fuck.
Yeah, to take something like the rings of the Mandarin from Iron Man comics, where they were just rings on his fingers, and they were actually rings that he wore on his forearm, was a really cool upgrade to Cinema Vice, the comic, right? I enjoyed that. I would have liked to have seen them use more of the comic stuff where like each one of his rings did something. I would have liked to have seen like maybe those rings had more than just whatever powers they were using them for in the movie, but they were pretty powerful. So they were pretty cool. Paul, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And in the comics, I feel like one's like fire and one's ice and one's something else.
Yep.
But yeah, I thought that was really well done. I do love the Darksaber. I loved how in Book of Mandalorian, the episode that deals with him having the Darksaber and having the fight, with the other guy, and how it seemed heavy to him and he was sort of fighting it. Like all of that is super cool.
Yeah, some of that drawn in from the cartoons too.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Marvel Cinematic Universe seems to be able to take bit characters like Shang-Chi, bit gadgets like the Ten Rings, and make it super cool. That movie's better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and the way that they didn't just CGI the fuck out of it really well, but they also incorporated it into the choreography and the fight scenes and stuff. That was really fucking cool. I mean, you make something that's lame, 10 rings, into, a badass weapon. I thought it was just awesome. I think, blows everything else out of the water, really, for me.
Well, all right. So, Paul, what would have gotten your vote, though? The Darksaber?
I think I'm voting for Darksaber. The Shang-Chi thing, very cool, but Darksaber, since we saw it at the end of season 1 of Mandalorian, I think, right, when Moff Gideon used it to cut himself out of, is it Moff Gideon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cuts himself out of the TIE fighter. That's been super cool.
Okay, that's funny because I know like I was really just responding to Eric because the rings didn't have my vote. But I was just responding to him. And my vote was actually going to be Hawkeye's trick arrows.
Oh no.
I've been dying to see. Everything he's done has just been arrows outside of a grappling arrow in the Avengers, right? So for them to have all those fucking arrows in the show, like blew my mind. I was like, this is amazing. And I just really like something about the Hawkeye show I really, really enjoyed. And I don't know, it was probably just everything all combined between like, the relationship between him and Kate and all that, and Elena coming in, whatever. But yeah, his trick arrows really got me. I was like, I'm loving this because I grew up with that kind of shit. And I was like, that's what I read. You always read about him and Green Arrow having all these fucking trick arrows,
Right.
which were like they were cool, but they were like incomprehensible as far as how they fucking worked because it's supposed to be a fucking arrow. And like you got
With
like
the giant boxing glove on it.
Yeah, Green Arrow with a boxing glove and Hawkeye with all these random fucking arrows, right? But the ones in the show, most of the time, they seemed practical. And then like you came out with like the Pym arrow. What the fuck? This is awesome. So yeah, so Hawkeye's trick arrows had my vote.
Well, I guess that leaves us in a predicament. I think if I were gonna go with a second, it'd definitely be the trick arrows.
That's funny. Because if I was going to go with a second, I would go with Shang-Chi rings.
What's that?
I said if I was going to, if I had to put a second place vote, mine would be Shang-Chi's rings.
Well, what I was gonna say is, what the rings, like I said, the choreography that they kind of did with the CGI rings got me. But also in like that one chase scene that they do through the streets where he's blind and stuff, like they really put all those arrows to good effect for comedy value, for integrating them into whatever the hell's going on in the scene, and blow things up, shrink things down, there's all this different whacked out stuff, and of course we got to see him make his own arrows. So I think if I look at it in that kind of totality, I suppose Hawkeye's trick arrows can have my vote.
I'm not mad at it.
All right, sweet. I talked you into it.
All right, trick arrows takes the W.
All right.
Oh, I guess I gotta highlight them like this.
Start talking to the chase scene. I'll be right back.
All right, so best chase scene. We have last year's winner was the Bad Boys for Life chase scene. This year we've got the one I just mentioned, Hawkeye and Kate Bishop. Actually, we have two Hawkeye ones in this year. Hawkeye and Kate Bishop versus the Tracksuit Mafia, which is the scene that happens on the ice. And then we also have the car chase one where Hawkeye is blind and driving, and Kate Bishop is shooting all the arrows out of the back without any idea of what the hell they do, and she's just kind of randomly grabbing at them. And he's like, "How do you tell what's what?" But we have the Taskmaster chases Natasha and Yelena through that Eastern European country from Black Widow. So just 3 entries that we came up with for chase scenes. Any thoughts, Paul?
Yeah, they're all pretty good. I think that the Tracksuit Mafia, the car chase scene, the one where Hawkeye's driving blind, that gets it for me. I think we talked about some of those trick arrows a minute ago, and their use in there. That's a great scene. I liked Black Widow. There's a lot of great scenes in that movie. There's a lot of great fight scenes in that movie. But the use of the trick arrows in that scene does it for me.
All right, well, my vote would actually be exactly the same for this. I thought the way that they mixed it up with throwing all the comedy elements into it and all the trick arrows, that's a winner for me. So John, I guess your vote doesn't matter this time, but please give us your
I'm glad I took a piss break on that one. No, yeah, I'd agree on that one. for the amount of movies that we actually managed to watch this year compared to last year, I was surprised on some of these awards that we had to really think. Like, we're like, what the fuck are we gonna put in here? So this one only had 2, but yeah, the hands down the Trick Hours won for me out of that one. I really enjoyed the whole Black Widow movie, but Trick Arrows is just it's beyond compare.
Easy winner.
Yep.
All right. Next category is best fight scene. This differs slightly from the other category we have, ass whooping. This is like a choreographed fight scene. Maybe between multiple characters. Unexpected moves, good choreography, that kind of stuff. Not necessarily an ass whooping, although an ass whooping may be part of it. But
Yeah, think about most of the John Wick scenes last year. Last year's winner was the knife fight scene in John Wick 3, like that sort of beautiful choreography and camera work and
that the Daredevil hallway scene.
Right.
Yeah.
So this year we have quite a few nominations. I'm noticing just looking down this list that it's a little different because the vast majority of these that we put up this year are really heavily CGI assisted fight scenes.
Compared to it, yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. We got the spoiler alert. The Spider-Mans fighting Electro, Sandman, Green Goblin, and the Lizard Man, right? What?
Lizard, yeah.
Yep. Guyverse dude in Free Guy with all their power upgrades. The bus fight in Shang-Chi, actually, that's the one on the list that has no real CGI assistance, isn't it?
Yeah, the only CGI is that guy's arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scorpion versus Sub-Zero, that final fight, which of course incorporated, not all the, but a lot of the cool moves from the game and stuff. And then Shang-Chi, the dragon fight scene at the end, which was heavily CGI. But also, it was one of the only ones on our list that's like a big old epic, because there was, I don't even know how many, 50 different people and creatures and all kinds of shit going on in that fight scene.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Lots of the dragons,
Yeah, that was the one. Remember, I said, look, when Noah was like, "What even is this movie?"
And then last but not least, we have Spider-Man versus Doctor Strange, the Mirror Universe fight scene between the two of them.
Yeah.
John, you want to lead it off?
Yeah, I will say, I really loved the guy versus dude with the upgrades. Free Guy, I really loved that movie. They nailed an NPC character in a video game like Grand Theft Auto, right? They just nailed that. And I mean, who doesn't love Ryan Reynolds, right? The guy could do no wrong. But like that part of the movie was epic just because of the different upgrades. And I don't want to ruin anything for the rest of our awards later on, but there was a few things in there that really kind of stood out to me. The 3 Spider-Men against all the enemies, like there was that from the moment the trailer dropped where we were analyzing it, we were like, they're definitely looking at 3 Spider-Man, like all of that shit, right? We were like, no, they're definitely in this movie. It was all that hype leading up to this movie to have all 3 Spider-Man in one movie and fighting alongside each other was cool to me. Like, I really enjoyed it. But honestly, out of all those fight scenes, to me, like, it'll be down in the geek out moments, but all 3 of them together in one scene was more epic to me. I think, honestly, out of all these, I enjoyed the Shang-Chi bus fight scene the most, just because it was like less CGI and that guy can fucking move. Like, I mean, that one out of all these fight scenes, as much as I loved all of them, I think that one's got my vote. Just because there was less CGI and that guy was just like killing it. And I don't like when you use CGI, right? I love it, but I loved that scene. Like, I was really impressed with what they did with that scene.
Yep.
All right, so it's taking your vote.
Yeah, that one's got me.
It's hard to not vote for 3 Spider-Man.
I know, right?
But you want to talk about something that reminded me of kind of the Saturday morning kung fu movies. That Shang-Chi bus scene is a great fight scene.
Yeah.
Closed space, multiple opponents, guy with the knife arm. There's a lot to like in there. Yeah, I would vote for that too.
So I'm with you guys. That's kind of ironic. The one that has no help is the one that we're gonna go for. But it almost had a Jackie Chan feel to it or something.
Yes.
The way he was doing his power punches and using his coat or whatever to grab the guy's arms and flip him around, hopping through the bars and the seats. Like everything about it was just
from one part of the bus to the other.
Huh?
From one part of the bus to the other.
Yeah. And then they added a little extra, which you never see in like a Jackie Chan film, but there's a couple parts where they like slow down, like where the fist is coming at him and he's like dodging back and stuff, and it does it in slow motion, you know. I really thought that scene was really well done, really well choreographed, and it didn't hurt that everybody on the bus is just totally chilling there, and there's like a guy video recording it, like, oh man, check this out, you know, like to his followers or whatever. It was all well done. That has my vote too.
Yeah, and it's definitely not like taking anything away from any of these other scenes, because this one was tough for me, because like even like the Scorpion versus Sub-Zero, I want to give credit to that one just because after the 90s Mortal Kombat movies, when they would get ready to drop this one, we were hyped for it. And when we watched it at Eric's house, when this fight scene came down, I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like I was really into that fight scene. But yeah.
And it's even again Jackie Chan inspired as far as I could see. But you remember there's one point after he's fighting the guy with the arm where he actually gets knocked out of the bus, and Aquafina's like driving crazy and he's like flipping over the roof. He almost falls off the front, but grabs the light and swings back in. Like the whole thing was just really fucking cool.
Yeah, it was amazing. All right, Shang-Chi bus fight.
All right. What do we got next? Okay, so next we're gonna pop into the ass whooping, and so this
like the fight scene. This is just who got their ass whooped.
Yeah. So we did Luke versus Dark Troopers last year. I think that was for sort of lack of options more than anything, because I feel like we had better ones year prior, but
we did. Yeah, but again, last year a lot of it was just we were scrounging for everything we could do. But like, yeah, the best ass whooping, like what we tried to discuss it before we recorded. The difference between the fight scene and the ass whooping. The fight scene is choreographed fight. Ass whooping is just when you're sitting there going, damn, like someone's getting fucked up. So again, Eric.
Nominees this year: Green Goblin versus Spider-Man. That's the one in the building where he gets knocked through the floors and all that. Definitely a pretty one-sided ass whooping that goes down there. Boba Fett versus the Nikto biker gang in Book of Boba Fett, which actually that is choreographed, I guess, but it's still a very one-sided ass whooping where I don't even think they get a punch in on him, and by the end of it, he's taking a shot at the bar. Like it was just a straight beatdown. John Walker going ape shit, killing the Flag Smashers, particularly the last one he kills when everybody's recording him in the courtyard or whatever it is from Falcon.
Yeah, where he slams a shield into his neck.
Yep. And then Falcon and Winter Soldier again, but those two fighting John Walker. And then we have an honorary mention, Chris Rock getting bitch slapped by Will Smith.
That one's got my vote.
That's a special award.
Yeah, that gets the honorary geeky. Just to say thank you for reminding us we had to do this.
Yeah, right. You want to lead this one, Paul?
Yeah, again, Paul.
Yeah. As I look at these, when I think about this category, I think of John Walker going just absolutely apeshit on that guy, and I think at this point in that series, he had taken the whatever that current version of the super soldier serum was, the one that they found, because he knows he kind of can't live up to Steve Rogers, and so he's going to take this shortcut, but it changes his personality. And then he catches this one member of the Flag Smashers, and just the beating just starts, and he just loses his mind and just finally takes the shield down and then looks up, and everyone's got their phones out, and it's his last moment, essentially as the new Captain America. And so for me, that gets it. Like, that's when I think about this category and why we put it in there, that's what does it for me.
John?
I would say, as someone who grew up reading Spider-Man comics, that was like one of my mainstream. Him and Green Goblin, right? And I just literally had this argument at work today. It was, I forget who brought it up. Somebody was talking about that whole fight scene, and one of the guys at work was like, all right, he's like, you know what I don't like is how, like, you know, Spider-Man's supposed to be super strong, and you never really see him using it in the MCU. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, in the first movie, he lifted up like this whole fucking thing of machinery to get it off himself, and these other things, right? And he's like, yeah, but he's fighting Green Goblin, and he's just like punching him, and nothing's happening. I'm like, Green Goblin is like stronger than Spider-Man. He's like, and he's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, have you read a fucking comic? I'm like, Green Goblin is like super fucking strong. I'm like, that whole thing with him getting impaled on the glider, that shit happened in the comics, and he came back. But he came back like 20 years later. Like that's him. And he's fucking insane. So of course you would enjoy it. Like that scene to me in that movie when they were fighting, and the only thing I think that might disqualify it out of this thing is in the beginning of that whole fight scene, it's not one-sided. Like they're going at each other for a while throughout that thing, but then Peter gets him down and is just punching him in the face, but Norman is just laughing in his face as he's punching him, which is what sold that fight to me. Right? I was like, if you remember when we reviewed the movie or when we talked about it, I said Willem Dafoe took like his old Green Goblin and like made it the comic Green Goblin this time. And it wasn't just the way they kind of did the costumes to kind of like morph into the comic thing. That scene, that where he's just laughing at him even though he's punching him, that's Green Goblin to me, right? So that part of it keeps standing out to me of just Spider-Man beating the piss out of him and Green Goblin just taking it. But I've also kind of talked myself out of it now because I mean, because it's supposed to be the best ass whooping, and Green Goblin just took it and laughed at him. So I guess it was made a subcategory of who took the best ass whooping. There would be that one. All right, best representation of a comic book fight scene. That would be that. I enjoyed that. Outside of that, I think now I'd have to. Paul kind of talked me into the John Walker. I really liked the Falcon and Winter Soldier versus John Walker fight scene.
Where they break his arm.
Where they break his arm, but the John Walker just going ape shit and killing that dude. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, that one to me, I agree with Paul.
I agree with Paul as well. I think that had sort of the shock and awe I was looking for in the best ass whooping kind of thing, right? Not the Luke versus the Dark Troopers thing, but what we've seen in previous years with Thanos. The previous nominees have been just a one-sided destructive fucking just somebody destroying somebody, right? And
yeah. Well, like the thing that saved the Luke thing was more of that was what fanboys like us had wanted to see Luke do, height of his power kind of thing.
Yep.
But it wasn't like all these other ones now. Yeah, so yeah, John Walker wins.
All right.
Hopefully, Out of the Thunderbolts is good. All right, so we got best story now.
Yeah, so this is a new category that we sort of made up because we were trying to figure out how to squeeze things in, I think. Um, but so this isn't necessarily like a
We're trying
full,
to squeeze things into an hour and a half.
yeah, yeah. Well, no, I meant like, we wanted to have things on the list and we weren't quite sure where to put them, or because, and you'll understand when you see the list, but this isn't necessarily like a full on story of a whole movie necessarily, but good storytelling within a show or within a movie. Although
No,
that said,
like we said before, compared to last year, there seemed to be so much more this year. I think by next year we'll kind of have been a little calmed down. We'll have tapered ourselves a little bit, but like this year seemed to be like bombarded by shit.
yeah, so despite what I just said, we do have a couple sort of whole story concepts in here. So the first one on the list is Spider-Man No Way Home. Basically the whole thing, although the precipice for adding this was really the return of the three Spider-Men and how they put that together. So to bring those three what were once disparate movies, into the MCU slash Sonyverse together,
Yeah.
in a way that made sense and it wasn't stupid. I think
Yeah.
a way that worked
They
well.
managed. They did it well. Yeah.
Yeah. Second one on the list is a story element. It's Book of Boba Fett, really the first and second episode, I guess you could say, but where they're telling his backstory, what happened to Boba Fett between falling in that pit and present time. And
Right.
I think fans for forever, there's been a whole bunch of shit written about this, but fans for forever have been wanting that story, and they finally gave it to us in Book of Boba Fett. Next one is WandaVision, and again, this is almost the whole thing, but it's kind of the way that they turned the House of M storyline into this really quite fucking bizarre TV series. And then last but not least, this actually came from a What If episode that we all really liked, which was when Doctor Strange basically destroys the whole universe trying to get enough power to bring his wife back, right?
Yeah.
So those are categories. I guess I'll start this one. I really want to vote for Boba Fett here for the reasons I mentioned. Like finally getting that story, and I thought it was fairly well done, and I think we've covered that in pretty great depth in reviewing Book of Boba Fett. That said, it's Spider-Man's getting it. The three Spider-Men being brought back together, the whole alternate dimension kind of stuff that they did to bring that all into one, to bring the old Sony movies and the new Sony slash MCU all into one place, and then bring back all these old villains on top of it. That whole story was super well done, and that definitely has my vote here.
All right, Paul.
I think I start in the same place Eric does, which is I've wanted the backstory of Boba Fett from the last time we saw him to this time. How does that happen? How does he get out of the Sarlacc pit? I thought it was really well done. It's told in flashbacks, and then he, gets captured by the Tuskens, but then becomes one of them and gets accepted into their community. So I thought that was a great story. But again, now that I've seen Spider-Man, the idea of how they weaved this in, it wasn't gimmicky. It made perfect sense with everything that has gone on in the MCU till then, and then you end up with three Spider-Men on the screen. Yeah. So I really wanted it to be Boba Fett, and it would have been had there not been a Spider-Man movie, this Spider-Man movie.
All right, look, I like Doctor Strange and What If. I thought that was really cool. I can't wait to see him again in the next movie.
I feel like they're going to do that story anyway soon, so we'll get to vote for it.
Yeah. I love the WandaVision series. I thought it was great. And well, we're going to see her again, Doctor Strange, as well. But ironically, to agree with both of you, I've wanted to see them do the thing with Boba Fett from the moment they brought him back in Mandalorian, from the moment that you just saw his feet and you heard the spurs, and I kept telling you fuckers, that's goddamn Boba Fett. from that moment, I wanted to see that. And they gave me what I wanted. But, but, fuck, Spider-Man No Way Home was almost a perfect fucking movie. I mean, I've got maybe a few minor little gripes here and there, but I mean, they are so minor that I really like. I just forget about them. You know what I mean? Like you guys said, to somehow take this concept that the MCU is going this way and we're doing this, and now we're going to incorporate the multiverse, and then to go, all right, no, we're not just going to incorporate the multiverse. We're going to go back to these movies that were made not by us and incorporate all that shit into one movie. And then, like Paul, like you said, it wasn't cheesy when they did certain things. You could tell exactly where the fan service was, but it was right, like they turned that dial to the perfect spot. Like where the parts when you were watching that in the fucking theater, people were cheering. Like there was like, you knew this was an epic thing that was happening. And nobody had done it before. It's fucking crazy what they did with this movie. So yeah, as far as the best story, it's got to be Spider-Man No Way Home.
Easy cheesy.
Ta-da!
Next category is going to be a short one. Most shocking moments. This is just sort of a extra surprising moment that happened that you were not expecting and sort of got you. We had 3 on here originally because I don't think Paul has seen Ghostbusters Afterlife. I deleted the 3rd one. So I guess we'll just skip that one over.
Side note, Paul, I found it on my streaming thing that
I started. I'm about 2/3 of the way through, something like that.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right, good.
He's not there yet, unfortunately. So
Motherfucker.
we're gonna skip that one. We're gonna leave just 2. There's gonna be only 2 nominees this time around, unless somebody can think something up on the fly. The first one is first 10 minutes of the Suicide Squad reboot thing, whatever the hell that was, where they brought the whole squad in and they did the whole fight thing, and literally everybody gets killed in like some brutal way, and it's a total fake out, and then you see the real team afterwards. Because I think that got all of us. We're all like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
And then the other one, big spoiler alert for Spider-Man. If you don't want to hear it, skip ahead 2 minutes. But the death of Aunt May.
Yeah, that was hard to watch.
Yeah.
My 3rd one on here would be the fact that Paul managed to watch both episodes of Moon Knight in time to do the review.
It was down to the wire, man. It was like earlier today.
I guess an honorable mention.
I mean, I guess we could have John Walker and the Flag Smasher smash on here too. I mean, that was kind of a little bit unexpected.
But he already won an award for that one. So we'll.
John, why don't you lead off? Although I already know what your vote is.
Well, yeah. All right. The first 10 minutes of Suicide Squad had me. I don't know. James Gunn just gets me. Like every time I watch one of his movies, I'm just like, this is fucking perfect. It was like him and Taika Waititi, right? Like they're awesome. This movie had me at the same time laughing and shocked at what was going on the screen. And when you realize, like, all right, yeah, everyone just got fucking wiped out, and then no, it's just the B team. That's not even really the team that you're gonna follow the rest of the movie. And everything leading up to it had everybody in like all the fucking promo shit. So you're like, what the fuck just happened? But I mean, the death of Aunt May. Well, I mean, I still want to say it was shocking. I don't think it shocked me as much because I was kind of expecting something to happen to motivate Peter going forward. But the way they did it in the movie was heart-wrenching. So, I mean, I don't know if I want to say shocking. Suicide Squad made me laugh with what they did, but the Death of Aunt May kind of I'll vote for that one just because it fucking killed me. And I mean, you killed Marissa Tomei, you sons of bitches. Like, God damn it, she's on my list. So yeah, Death of Aunt May, that was fucked up.
And I kept thinking that they were going to undo it, right? In some
with the Doctor Strange thing or whatever.
Yeah, when we set the multiverse right, that they would have fixed it. That could also go into part of the best storytelling, because it reminds you that there's no in Marvel's so good at storytelling in their characters that there is no version of Spider-Man that doesn't have pain and death in it, right? All of them, because the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man can't save Uncle Ben. The Andrew Garfield Spider-Man can't save Gwen. Even when he tries to save her, the sudden deceleration kills her.
Yeah. And that's like right out of the comic too.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. And that's going to get you into like another Spider-Man conversation where how they make up for that in this movie, and the previous MCU Spider-Man where like he alludes to Uncle Ben and everything that's been lost and whatever, but he never really talks about him.
Right.
But
this is his
you never really hear about it because they never did the origin story, which was cool. It was really cool, and we appreciated that. But then when Aunt May is laying there, she tells him the "with great power comes great responsibility" line. And then they allude to that later when he's talking to the other Spider-Man, and they were like, for me, it was Uncle Ben.
Yep.
And they talk about that line. So she's the one that gives it to him.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that makes me question is what the fuck happened to Uncle Ben before?
It's something not related to him being Spider-Man.
Yeah.
All the others are.
Yeah.
And this is his, I can't save her. Right. She's dead because of me. And that's his first, this Spider-Man, that's his first sort of real loss in being Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, like outside of like Tony, but that was, I mean, you're both superheroes, so
right.
Yeah, Death of Aunt May.
Yeah, I don't think there's much more to say. That one.
Obviously, you're not even gonna argue that one. You already highlighted.
I'm really not. I was trying to think while you guys were talking of other ones, and everything's sort of a joke comparatively, so I don't even want to throw them in there. I was thinking when Kung Lao kills Katana in Mortal Kombat by spinning his hat, slicing her body in half.
Yeah, that was good.
But it's like, come on, compared to Aunt May, like, why even bring it up, right? All right, so Death of Aunt May has it. Spoilers have ended for that, so hopefully we didn't ruin it for you. Next category we're going to do is most surprising performance, and I think we might have skipped this one last year. Can't remember what we did, but in any case, nominees this year are Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin in the Spider-Man No Way Home, Owen Wilson as Mobius in the Loki series, McKenna Grace as Phoebe in Ghostbusters Afterlife, both Elizabeth Olsen and Catherine Hahn for WandaVision. And then the last one on the list was Florence Pugh for Yelena, which she played in both Black Widow and Hawkeye. I will say personally, Owen Wilson is a he's a good actor. He usually does a lot of sort of quirky comedy stuff and whatever. I was really surprised by not necessarily his performance in this, but his performance with Tom Hiddleston. I feel like the two of them worked so well together, and they really played off each other well. And just speaking generally, the character was cool anyway. That said, Willem Dafoe's reimagining of the Green Goblin, as John pointed out earlier, a much different Green Goblin than he originally played. a much more sort of tortured person, but also a bad, just to be bad, right? He's not one of those conflicted evil characters. He's just a bad guy.
Yeah.
You know, and the fight scene that John mentioned is I guess it kind of hammers that home when he's just getting beat to death and laughing. But I mean, through the whole thing, I mean, it was just such a different Green Goblin than was back in the original Spider-Man movie. It was so much more well done and so much more sort of comic accurate, I think. So I struggle there too. If I had to pick, also Elizabeth Olsen is great, but the WandaVision series was so bizarre, and you definitely get a really good sense of how conflicted the character is, and her performance was really well done through all of it. But it's so fucking strange, all the different types of acting that happen. I mean, she goes from like, you know, old 50s housewife stuff, and like just the whole thing is weird as hell, man.
Yeah, the only thing weirder is what we're watching now. Moon Knight's like, hold my beer.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, he might be on the list for the fifth. All right, so I'm not going to talk about all of them, but I think between those three, that's probably where I'm at. I'm really torn between Willem Dafoe and Owen Wilson. I think I'm gonna lean towards Owen Wilson, but I want to hear what you guys have to say too.
Well, you want to take it? You want me to go?
Yeah, I'll go because I'm also conflicted between the two, but I go the other way at the end and lean towards Willem Dafoe because Owen Wilson is almost Owen Wilson in all the movies, not quite the way Jim Carrey is.
He's Owen Wilson, but his nose is a worse character.
Yes, but his nose is more and more obvious every time. But I feel like I've seen the mannerisms of Mobius in other Owen Wilson stuff where he's just like, come on, man. Whereas Willem Dafoe plays Green Goblin, as you mentioned, Eric, totally different than the first way. For the first, I don't know, half the time he's on screen, he's doing the sort of, I'm trying to be better, just help me, I need help. And then he totally flips it. And so I think that for me is the better performance, just because I feel like I've seen that Owen Wilson thing before.
Yeah. I mean, and like you guys, I could talk on all of these. I mean, like Florence Pugh was amazing as Yelena in both Black Widow and Hawkeye. I can't wait to see her going forward. Catherine Hahn was
She's great.
She blew my mind as Agatha. Like just the build up and then realizing that she's behind everything was fucking amazing. Like she was amazing as that. Elizabeth Olsen, I mean, you know how much I love her, so that was an obvious one. But then like, you've got Owen Wilson as Mobius again. He's always Owen Wilson. But like Eric said, him pairing off with Tom Hiddleston, it just worked so well in that show. And Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, like I keep pushing, he took it to another level and was like, he finally pushed his version. And it was weird because he took his version of the Sony Green Goblin and made it the comic one that I knew. Right? So it blew my mind that way. But my vote was going for McKenna Grace because the whole Ghostbusters Afterlife thing, especially after the Ghostbusters Answer the Call, less said about that, the better. The build up to this movie had me just revved up and ready to go, and you guys both know that. And I was like, all right, this kid looks cute, she's gonna be okay. When we watched this movie, I was like, the way she embodies a little Harold Ramis like blew my mind, and like everything she did in this movie had me and Paul, you haven't even fucking finished it yet, so just stand by. Get your tissues ready too,
right?
But she's amazing in this fucking movie. So I mean, I would really push for her. But if you guys are kind of battling between Willem Dafoe and Owen Wilson, then I'll concede. Although look, McKenna Grace,
Well,
goddamn,
I
they
think
better bring another fucking movie back because I need her to win something soon.
I think it sounds like all of us were conflicted, but our conflicts all included Willem Dafoe. So we just
Right.
that way.
That's what I'm gonna say. Willem Dafoe blew my mind in that movie. Like he took that fucking movie for me. Like, so yeah, I'll give it to Willem Dafoe.
All right. Willem has it.
Willem.
Let's see.
Also because it's fucking Willem Dafoe and everything he's in is just fucking wild. Go watch Boondock Saints.
Oh yeah, we never finished discussing this one, but oh well, we'll just go with it. No, actually we shouldn't. Okay, so we have a geek out moments category. We had
shit. We have to delete. Yeah. Nice, Eric. Nice.
So geek out category. We considered breaking this up into maybe two categories. One being unexpected comebacks, and the other being sort of the geek out fan service kind of stuff, which are kind of one and the same. But anyway, here they are. They're all together. So you're just gonna have
Let's film all.
We have 7 of them in this category, and we're gonna have a lot to talk about, I think. So starting with probably the obvious.
It was almost 8 if Paul had finished the movie.
Yeah. Almost 8. So the return of the 3 Spider-Man, particularly the Statue of Liberty fight scene, but just in general, return of the 3 Spider-Man, and that bringing the Sony and the MCU Spider-Verses, as it were, all together. So huge geek out moment. We've already talked about it several times. Vincent D'Onofrio coming back as the Kingpin and Hawkeye. Captain Shield power up little joke thing that they did in Free Guy.
Yeah.
Danny Trejo showing up with the Rancor, which, by the way, I don't know why they didn't give him some kind of vibro knife machete thing, but
yeah. Oh, that would have been amazing.
So Danny Trejo coming showing up with the Rancor. The Luke training scene with Grogu flashback thing, because it was done almost exactly like the original Luke and Yoda training scene. The whole choreography and everything that was happening was like super similar and just immediately took your mind to it. So total geek out moment there, despite Luke being CGI face Luke. But the Eternals end credit scene where they have Kit Harington show up and he's going to be Dan Whitman, Black Knight. And then last but not least, in WandaVision, Evan Peters showing back up as Quicksilver. So I don't know where the hell you want to take it from there, but John, why don't you lead it off?
Yeah, I'll start it off. Eric, you have not seen Free Guy, right?
Me? Yeah.
I mean, Paul. Sorry, the other. Yeah. All right. So sorry, this part's going to get ruined for you, but the other one that we managed. That whole Cap Shield thing was perfect. Just the timing and the music of the Avengers, and then Chris Evans showing up was awesome. But there's so many, like you said, there's so many in here. Okay, he's not looking. How do I get him when he's not looking? Okay, put him back in. But outside of that one, all these other ones, they're all really cool. Like Danny Trejo showing up. As soon as he showed up, I started laughing. I was like, oh my God. It's machete in space.
Yeah, I was, not to get off track, but I was really hoping he'd show up later to be in a fight scene or something.
I was hoping he was going to show up in that big fight scene because he's the Rancor trainer. He's a Rancor keeper. He's supposed to be there.
Maybe it was done as a funny joke or something, but when him and Boba Fett actually go down in the pit and they're talking and the Rancor's there and he's doing the eye reveal and everything, he was like total sensitive guy, like Rancors are, highly emotionally complex creatures. I'm like, what the fuck?
He was so opposite Danny Trejo. Right. He did something similar in the Flash TV series that was really fucking funny. But all right, so yeah, so I liked him in that. There's all of these have something, but like the Vincent D'Onofrio one is close for me because that return as a Kingpin, he nailed it in the Daredevil series, and for him to come back, and I call this is the one I called. I got fucked up in Mephisto, but but I called Kingpin. I was like Kingpin behind all this shit, and then when he showed up at the end of that episode, I was like yes. But for me, it's got to be like the first one I put on there was, overall the return of the Spider-Man, but that scene of all three of them together in the suits landing on the Statue of Liberty, that was like when the whole fucking theater erupted in cheers when they were all together. That was it for me. Like that, it was perfect. So that gets my vote.
Oh,
Yeah. So many of these are great. And for me, it's between
so many of the ones that Paul knows.
Yeah, of the ones that I've seen. The Luke training scene, right, where he's got the little training ball thing and it zaps little Grogu and then he does the flip, like so great.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you're gonna beat the three Spider-Man. Like it's
I'm with you. It's there's a lot here and it's almost not worth talking about anymore because I think it was obvious after reading the list which way this is gonna go.
Oh yeah. Now I will say this: had Paul finished a certain movie,
oh yeah,
that had my vote.
Oh really? Oh wow.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if I'd take that over Spider-Man, although it is, yeah.
For me,
can't say anything.
Yep. Just gonna wait for Paul to finish the movie. I guess it'll be here next year.
By this time next year.
All right. Best villain.
All right, moving along then. Last year's winner for best villain was Stormfront. Well earned. Don't regret that one. With the,
I miss her. I miss her. She was so gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, she was so great.
was. So we have this year Dreykov from Black Widow, Kingpin and Hawkeye, a really well done Carnage in Venom 2, Sub-Zero for Mortal Kombat, and then Wanda ? But Wanda and WandaVision, who in a sense was kind of the villain. I mean Agatha too, but in a way.
It was Agatha all along.
Yeah, it was Agatha all along. I think I'll start. So you guys know I'm a humongous Venom fan, and Woody Harrelson's portrayal, it's not necessarily of Carnage, but portrayal of the character was, I thought, really, really good. Really good. But Kingpin was also well done. Part of the reason we were just talking about Vincent coming back for this role. He's excellent in it. Actually, he's perfect for the role. I really couldn't even imagine anybody else doing it.
No.
And the Kingpin villain in this is actually, despite him being clearly a bad guy, I mean, he's also kind of sensitive in scenes and stuff when he's like talking to what's her name, the mother, and his I don't know what she is, the protege, the Echo.
Yeah, the niece, whatever.
The
quote unquote niece.
I think for me, it's probably between those two, but I definitely lean heavily towards Carnage because I just been waiting to see that forever.
All right, Paul. Paul, did you see Venom too?
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah.
I know I'm killing you. I'm sorry. I will catch up on life. I promise.
It's totally on streaming now.
I know. For me, and so I don't know the Carnage scene, but if you're talking about villains as opposed to just sort of maniacal kind of big bad, I lean towards Kingpin, right? Who's pulling sets of strings that you don't even know about, sort of doing the 3D chess thing.
Yeah.
Right. Dreykov's like that, but I think Vincent D'Onofrio is so good in that role, as Eric just mentioned. Like, he's perfect in that thing. So that's it for me.
Yeah. I mean, I liked all of these. I love Eric. It was you that threw Wanda in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, and she's a little suspect in the trailers for Doctor Strange too.
Yeah, she is.
But yeah, I mean, I can, out of everything we've been talking about, I can narrow it down to those two as well. I mean, Kingpin and Carnage. Having seen Venom too, Woody Harrelson. This guy, he's another one that's like one of those ones where like when he goes into a role, he goes all in, and like he loses himself in the role, and he was really enjoyable as Cletus Cassidy, right? Like he did a really good job.
Yeah, I think I would say Paul's right though. He's not like a mastermind, right? He's just
No. But
he's a crazy guy who gets matched up with a crazy alien.
right. But now, if you look at Carnage for what he is, like as far as the comics, Woody Harrelson and the CGI shit, and they did a really good job with him there. Comparing it to like because what makes Carnage a really good villain for Spider-Man and Venom, because at this point now Venom has been a good guy in the comic, right? Or he really turns good to fight Carnage. Carnage is literally just Carnage. He kills for the sake of killing, right? And it's something that Spider-Man can't understand. So it goes against everything that Spider-Man stands for. And that's what makes Carnage so good for Spider-Man and Venom. But to your guys' point, Kingpin is the architect, the mastermind that is going to sit back and make chess moves. He's going to make oh, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then I'm going to watch what happens. I'm going to manipulate everybody. And to Eric's point, Vincent D'Onofrio, like, you watch the old Ben Affleck Daredevil movie, and then Michael Duncan Clark played him, and I was like, okay, well, we went a little the other way, but they got a big guy to play Kingpin, which made sense. Vincent D'Onofrio, they make him look like he's even bigger, right? And so he is the Kingpin out of the comics, where he's a big guy, but he's not just this fat fuck. He's like muscle, and he can fight and all this other shit. So he's multi-layered in his villainy. Like, all right, he's the mastermind. But when it comes down to it, when he shows up in Hawkeye, yeah, he'll manipulate everything, but then he's not afraid to get his hands dirty when it comes down to it. So at the end of the day, I especially because, spoiler alert, because I don't think we should do spoiler alerts for the Geekies because everybody's watching shit. Hopefully, he ain't dead.
That me.
He's showing back up. I cannot wait to see what the fucking MCU does with this guy. I can't wait for him and Daredevil and everything else. So yeah, Kingpin.
All right, I'm gonna. Well, it doesn't really matter because it's 2-on-1, but I'm gonna go with you anyway. But I would like you to know that the only Spider-Man comic I kept, it's in my footlocker in there, was Amazing Spider-Man number 361, which is the first appearance of Carnage. Yeah, I have a bunch of Venom comics in that thing. I've kept most of the ones I had, but that's the only Spider-Man comic I actually kept, was that first appearance of Carnage.
Hey, look, I love Spider-Man, and I love the Max Carnage storyline, and I love how they like to try to do some of that in this, where they involve Shriek and everything. But yeah, no, he was great. But sorry, Kingpin overall as a villain wins.
Yeah, he does. You're right. So Kingpin has it. There we go. We'll move on then to best sidekick and or support character. Last year, we gave this to Cara Dune from Mandalorian, who I still believe well deserved that award.
And
This-
hey,
What's
give
that?
Disney a minute. They might walk back some of the other shit they've been doing and bring her back. You don't know.
This year we have Fennec Shand in Book of Boba Fett. We also have a second nomination from Book of Boba Fett, which is The Mandalorian, who almost stole the show with his 2 episodes, not as a sidekick, but as the main character. Yelena from Black Widow and Hawkeye, although she's not a sidekick in Hawkeye, but Kate Bishop from Hawkeye, Mobius in Loki, and then we also have all the Lokis in Loki, including the alligator.
Especially the alligator. All right, the alligator wins. Fuck it. All right, who's starting? Am I starting?
Sure.
Yeah, but
All right. I was gonna say, the Mandalorian should win this just for the fact that like he took over half of the show and he was the best part of that show. I love Fennec Shand. I like Elena. And I did like all the Lokis, but like I'm fighting between Kate Bishop and Mobius.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Me too.
Not my turn, but
yep.
All right, so Kate Bishop, and again, like the Hawkeye series, where it was one of those things where they took the least likely member of the Avengers that you would think of, and they made an amazing show out of them. And then they took a sidekick and made her really good, right? And the whole like the development, the slow development of their relationship, where she eventually wins him over, like she wound up winning me over. Like that kid, I forget who played him. Who played Kate Bishop?
Haley
Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's great. She's awesome. Yes, because she was in Transformers too. The Bumblebee. She's really good. I liked her a lot. But then you got Mobius, and I mean, fucking Owen Wilson again. He's Owen Wilson in everything, but something about him in this show, just the whole growth of his character from he's dedicated to the TVA to meeting Loki and then starting to believe in Loki and then turning. Again, I like Owen Wilson is one of those guys like we said earlier. Everything I see him in, I know it's going to be the same Owen Wilson kind of wow, but at the same time, I know I'm not going to hate it. I'm going to enjoy what I'm watching, right? He really he won me over really quick in this show, and I remember when we reviewed it, I was like, he's really fucking killing it in this show. So I guess out of the two of them, I think I got to go with Mobius. I think Mobius, he won me over. And I love both of them, but yeah, Mobius. Somebody give me an argument. Go ahead.
I think you explained it exactly the way you got the two characters that I was thinking about. You got the reasons for it and the reason that I would go with Mobius. Like you said it exactly right. He and Tom Hiddleston are great together. And it starts with him trying to interrogate and prosecute him to going around to realizing I work for a messed up organization and we're the problem, not you're the problem. And then he actually starts to help him. Like it's great.
Oh yeah.
So no disagreement at all, really. But I would add to this, of all the people that are on this list, only really Kate Bishop and Mobius helped. They weren't just cool characters in their own right and respectable. They also were absolutely instrumental in developing the actual main character of those shows, right? Like it wouldn't have been a show without them. The character development couldn't have happened. Like the play off the two
Yes.
Was the show. I mean, in a lot of
Yeah.
aspects.
Yeah. Because while Fennec Shan was a good sidekick, she did nothing to help develop Boba Fett.
Yeah, I mean, Boba Fett's
All the
development
development
was,
of him was
largely in
back.
flashback, right?
Yeah.
That's how they decided to do it. Yelena, good support character, but also didn't do anything like Kate did to develop Hawkeye, right? So I'm with you both, though. I lean towards Mobius on this one. I thought the way the two of them played off each other through the whole entire series. That's not to say that Kate Bishop and Clint Barton's play off each other weren't good, because they were, but
It was amazing.
something about it just really clicked. And now that you explained it, John, I'm looking at them both saying, like, you know what? It's actually kind of the same story between them, right? Like it
is.
Start off sort of at odds in a way, and characters can't quite get along, and then by the end of it, they're right there together to end it. So still though, it's Mobius for me too.
Yeah. So basically, what the two of you are saying is we need another couple of hosts to come in and disagree with the three of us, because we're agreeing too much nowadays. All right, Mobius wins. All right,
that leads us into best hero then.
I'll start this one. All right, nominees for best hero: Spider-Man, obviously from No Way Home, but I think we're talking about the MCU Avengers Spider-Man. So great performance. Shang-Chi, which I didn't think would. When you told me a Shang-Chi movie was coming out, I didn't think that would make the list.
Yeah.
Scott Ward from Army of the Dead, a movie I didn't see.
Surprise.
I know that's now up for most shocking moment.
No, he's gone now.
Oh, he just disappeared. Does that mean Eric didn't see it?
No, I saw it.
Okay. No, it was, might as well get rid of him.
All right. Why not? If you guys think that he would win, that'd be fine.
No, I actually don't. John and I don't know if we did it on an episode or not, but we made fun of him, especially when he tried to do that emotional scene where he was upset. You remember?
Yeah, Dave Bautista cannot do emotion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did see that movie. I did. I blanked on it for a minute. We reviewed that movie together. Sorry, I didn't realize that's what that was. Yeah, no, he could go on that list. He's not going to win, but he can go on that. Captain Falcon.
This show has gone off the rails.
Yeah, it really has. Captain Falcon, which is just Falcon taking the mantle of Captain America, but getting the new red, white, and blue Falcon suit. And Hawkeye.
Hang on, I'm sorry. I need you guys to realize it took me like 3 or 4 fucking times reading that to realize what the fuck you wrote. I was like, who the fuck is Captain Falcon? And the only thing in my head was Bruce Willis in Die Hard 2, when he's like, "Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon."
Oh,
and
got it.
Like, I kept reading Captain Falcon. I was like, what the fuck is that? I was like, why the fuck is Bruce Willis on this list?
There, is that clear?
Yeah, there we go.
Fucked me up completely. All right. And then
as they refer to him at one point in that thing, Black Falcon.
The Black Falcon.
And then Hawkeye. This is a rough one.
This actually is a rough one.
Yeah, I'm actually arguing in my head. Go ahead.
We have said, even just in this episode, how much we liked Shang-Chi, how much surprisingly we liked Shang-Chi. Obviously we loved Spider-Man movie. Yeah. How much we liked Falcon and Winter Soldier, and as you go through that series, it makes sense that Sam takes the shield and the mantle of Captain America. Like, it all made sense. When it ended, we were good with it. Like, that it's not Bucky, that it's Sam. And Hawkeye, how much you don't know a bunch about him as a character, and you learn a lot about him, and it's really endearing. to him overall. So this is rough. Scott Ward, Army of the Dead. I didn't recognize the name. Like, it's funny. We watched the movie. We reviewed the movie. We kind of liked it. We made some fun. It didn't even register with me that that's what that was.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was not the worst zombie movie I ever watched, but yeah.
Yeah, it is. You took a zombie movie and you put it in my Ocean's 11, and you put my Ocean's 11 in the zombie movie.
Yeah. It's the Reese's peanut butter comes to zombie movie.
Yeah. Man, this is tough. I'm leaning between. My struggle is between Spider-Man and Shang-Chi. I think we saw a side of this Spider-Man that we hadn't seen before. I think the ending, where, spoiler alert, everyone forgets who Peter Parker is, and so MJ forgets, and Ned forgets, and he goes into the restaurant, and it's clear they don't remember him, but he doesn't. I kind of thought he would be like, "Hey, Peter Parker, we're friends," right? But he didn't. He just lets them live their lives unencumbered by him and not impacted by him.
Yeah.
And that's sad. And he checks it, he gets the crap apartment, and you just feel bad. Like, you're just left like, man, this is a rough existence. And Shang-Chi is a character who no one really knew, a very, I don't know, C or D level Marvel character, that was not on anyone's radar screen, and they made a really good movie, and they made him a really cool character, and with great fight scenes, the cool gadget, and a really well done movie. So I'm struggling with two. I lean towards Spider-Man because it's easy, because there's a greater history of his heroism, but it's probably just sort of body of work and not necessarily where you end up in the movie.
All right, Eric.
So I think if what Paul just mentioned at the end there can help us narrow things down, right? The sort of actual heroicism and the embodiment of that in a character, right? And I think I hadn't even thought about this until Paul mentioned it, but really, of this whole list, it's really only Spider-Man and Falcon who sort of make the sacrifice, reject being the hero, and it doesn't end necessarily in their favor, right? Man, this is tough. I feel like, I liked Falcon, and we talked about this when we did the review. Like, he knew from second one that he was no Captain America, right? And he starts the show with pretty much with, fuck that, I can't be that guy. I don't want to be that guy, and he sort of comes to terms with the idea by the end of the series, I guess, that's who he's going to be, but he still isn't trying to be Captain America. He's still
trying to be Steve Rogers.
Yeah, he's not trying to be Steve Rogers. Yeah.
No.
He knows that even at the end of it, that he can't probably really live up to that perfect kind of hero, right? But he proved his own mettle throughout the show and did become a real hero, right? And so I still think I gotta go with Spider-Man, though, because the sacrifice at the end of Spider-Man is for him to lose everything. He's lost, spoiler alert, sorry guys, he's lost his Aunt May. He gives up his love. He gives up all his friends. And when he gets the opportunity at the end to say something, to maybe try to restore it, he backs off, just never mind, and goes, so it's kind of the ultimate sacrifice. So I think if you're talking about what is really a hero, I mean, all that other stuff, all that fighting for good and rescuing people and whatever else, but in the end, he gave up everything. So I think he gets it. He gets it for me.
All right. Well, I agree with what Eric said about Black Falcon. And I agreed with what Paul said about Shang-Chi. again, like Paul said, Marvel does that thing where they pull a character out of their ass. Where I keep going, this is where maybe something goes off the rails, and it hasn't. Like Shang-Chi was fucking brilliant. Uh, my initial vote, honestly, was for Hawkeye because this is a guy that even in the beginning, or at least when you got to Age of Ultron, I constantly said one of the lines that always stuck with me with him when he talks to Scarlet Witch, and he's like, "I'm just a guy with a bow and arrow, and I'm going out there." Like that stuck with me. Like he's out of his element, but he's still gonna go be a hero because that's what it means. And then throughout this entire show, all he wanted to do was spend Christmas with his family. But he couldn't leave this kid to deal with what she was dealing with, right? So that's why that whole series really spoke to me. I was like, and Jeremy Renner like just killed it in that show. Like, he really, really nailed it. So I was gonna go for that one, but as much as I've loved Spider-Man, I just forgot until you guys started talking it up how much went on in that movie and how much Peter Parker, our MCU Peter Parker, gave up and did in that movie. So, yeah, I'll agree with you. I was gonna vote for Hawkeye, but I'll agree with you. Spider-Man nails it. The other two guys are great. Spider-Man 2 and 3 are good, but Tom Holland.
Yeah, so we're moving into the last categories.
The last main few categories. Actually, no. I know we should do best sci-fi, best hero sci-fi TV show. Best picture should be.
Best picture should be, yeah.
Oh, do you want to do this one too?
God damn it, Eric.
Do you want to do this one?
Oh yeah. I skipped that one completely. But best picture should be at the bottom.
Yeah. Here
we go. Riri. All right.
I think I got it all. All right. So
we're into best reboot or requel. Hashtag no new ideas.
Nominees are the Snyder Cut of Justice League, the Dune reboot, or part one of the Dune reboot, as it were, Masters of the Universe Revelation series, Ghostbusters Afterlife, Mortal Kombat, and I'm pretty sure there's a crying laugh face on this one, but Matrix Resurrections.
All right, I'm gonna go first. I have yet to watch the entire Snyder Cut.
Oh,
I know. I'm pulling a Paul. I keep trying, and I keep getting interrupted by other shit to watch. So I'm making it a mission because I'm reading random shit every time something comes up on the Snyder Cut. So I gotta watch that. But either way, that wouldn't get my vote anyway.
So is this? Hold on. Let me get some clarity. Is this the best of these movies, or is this the best idea, the best fulfillment of there are no new ideas left, and so we're just rebooting these things?
Yes. No. It's kind of a little bit of both. Yeah. Basically, like, let's rehash some shit and what's the best one out of it. All right. Masters of the Universe Revelation. I went into that really, really wanting to love that. And I know we reviewed it, and we even said in the beginning where we understood where some of the fanboy gripes were coming from, but it wasn't really that bad. Overall, it still wasn't that bad, but it doesn't win anything here. Mortal Kombat was amazing. I love that movie. But I would say, honestly, best reboot / requel, I got to give it to Ghostbusters. I kind of want to save it for best sci-fi movie, but I'm going to give it here. Ghostbusters, just like, if you're gonna take the concept of there are no new ideas, and you're gonna reboot or requel something. This was literally the definition when we say requel. It was a starting off point for something that we watched 30 years ago. And it's fucking amazing. It was everything I wanted it to be when I first saw that first little teaser trailer. So I got to give it to Ghostbusters Afterlife, which Paul's only seen 2/3 of.
I've seen enough of it to agree.
All right, there we go.
Doesn't sound like we're gonna have a lot to argue with on this one either. Yeah, I think Dune is close for me, but that was like one of the first sci-fi movies I really, really loved. My Uncle Dan actually introduced me to that movie. The reboot, I don't know if either of you guys saw it yet, but I mean, it is very well done with the updates. The costumes are freaking awesome. Everything about it is pretty much true to the original, but just done so much better. I thought it was really good. But all that said, Ghostbusters Afterlife has even more nostalgia sort of packed into it. And I think of everything on this list, it was the best.
All right. Well, Ghostbusters Afterlife. And so right after this episode, if you'll go to whatifgeeks.com and put in an application for host.
And you got time to see movies? Yeah.
We're taking in two new hosts. We got room for two more in there. All right. Best hero / sci-fi TV show. So last year's winner was The Boys, which duh. And I've got a funny feeling next year's winner is going to be The Boys, because that's coming back. And it looks like it's going to be fucking ridiculous. But this year we have Loki, Hawkeye, Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision, and What If. There seems to be a theory or an underlining theme here. Yeah. Oh, fucking Marvel.
Yeah. I'll go first. All of these series were really good. They all had good character development. They all fit well into the MCU. Why don't we have anything but MCU?
Was there anything else? The only other thing I watched was The Ranch.
I mean, there's Book of Boba Fett. There's Book of Boba Fett.
Oh my God, there was Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
It should probably be on this list in place of What If. That's what.
Yeah.
But
we're a little retarded. So
there we go. Now we got Book of Boba Fett on the list.
It's still Disney. Go ahead.
Yeah. All that said, I'm not going to vote for Book of Boba Fett. So, and it's actually really tough. So, WandaVision was incredibly well done despite all of its oddities. Falcon and Winter
Soldier. Talking about the oddities, but that's what I loved about the show.
Yeah, well, I mean that's part of what makes it. But you remember we watched that first episode and we were all like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, we just
yeah, but if you remember when we were reviewing it, I was like, "Just wait," because like I kind of got what they were going for, and as you got further along in the series, as they kind of jumped genres and ages of TV series, that was all the shit I grew up with, and I was like, this is fucking perfect. So,
yeah.
All right, good.
Hawkeye, as we've discussed already, great character development, sort of B character that they've turned into something incredibly interesting. And of all the shows on here, well, of all the Marvel in general, I mean, he's like the only guy, you know what I mean? Just like the normal dude that is somehow sort of in the world of all these superheroes and hanging out with them and keeping up with them, all the while not wanting to, right? Just wanting to be done with it and live a life. And all that played out really well. I think though, Loki, again, I'm going to talk about Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston's interaction in this was epic. The story was good. I loved the extra Lokis and the addition of the female villain Loki and even those two kind of having a love-hate sort of relationship with each other. Everything about that show from beginning to end, nothing made me say what the fuck. I was sort of in it the whole time, the whole way through. I think that's where my vote's gonna go.
Okay, Paul.
This is tough because it's such a stacked category. There's so many good shows in here, and they're all sort of in different themes, right? John, you talked about, and Eric, you just did too, about Hawkeye and how this is a regular dude who's in the world of gods and giant green monsters, but right, holds his own with those, and what's the nature of heroism and those sorts of things. Falcon and Winter Soldier is a great buddy story about also about heroism, but about like, as a country, where are we in heroes, and could, right, a black man be Captain America, and is that something that this country would have, and those conversations were important. WandaVision's about loss and pain and how she deals with it. Loki about I think it's really kind of about where we start this idea of the multiverse, and there being these different variants of Lokis and all those things. So man, I'm struggling. I'm leaning towards Hawkeye or Falcon and Winter Soldier, just because of the way we talk about those two things deal with heroism, and what that looks like. And I'm probably just having recency bias because I've seen Hawkeye more recently than I have. So I think I'm going with Hawkeye. That's my vote.
Yep. All right. Eric, who did you vote for? Loki?
I said Loki, yeah.
All right. So yeah, and like Paul, this is probably going to be our biggest pain in the ass award for which award we got to give out, because they're all great.
Yeah.
But agreeing with all of you, I mean, Loki was amazing. I loved it. I love Tom Hiddleston. He's awesome. But I would have to boil it down between Falcon and Winter Soldier and Hawkeye as well. Mostly because, like Paul said, they kept it grounded in a like relatable reality type of situation. Like Falcon and Winter Soldier, relatable to what's going on in America, and Hawkeye in a relatable, I'm out of my element and I'm tired and I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to be home with my family kind of thing. And I related to that a lot more than anything else that we watched. I'm just old and tired, and I got it. And that's one of the reasons why Hawkeye always stuck out to me. So I got to go with Hawkeye for that one. Jeremy Renner really nailed the, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to keep doing it because something inside me tells me I have to keep doing this. And that's what makes him one of the best Avengers. So, Hawkeye.
Right. Well, then the Hawkeyes have it.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for the dad joke.
Couple more to go. Best sci-fi hero, sci-fi movie. We did Old Guard last year. Again, sort of low on options, I feel like, but it was a pretty good movie.
It was still a good movie.
Yeah. So Ghostbusters Afterlife, The Tomorrow War, Free Guy, Dune, Army of the Dead, and Mortal Kombat.
All right. I'll start it off. I think I jumped on the Ghostbusters Afterlife earlier, so I'm gonna knock it out of this, even though I wanted to keep it in this one. Out of all these movies, I've said it before, Free Guy was that one that somehow, again, Ryan Reynolds could do no wrong, and they just really nailed a living in a Grand Theft Auto type of game. And overall, the movie was just fun. It was a fun movie. So to have a sci-fi movie where you're living in a video game and just really enjoying everything that was going on in it, I'll give it to Free Guy.
Oh,
Why don't you go next? So I don't. My vote doesn't. I'll just agree.
I just agree.
He's he can agree with somebody. He's only seen 1.5 of these movies.
That's right.
Oh,
1 2/3 of these movies.
that's
No, I've seen. No, I've seen. No, I saw the Tomorrow War. I saw Army of the Dead. And I've seen Mortal Kombat.
Let me. I don't know. I got to think about this. I mean, 2 of these are game based. When I think, sometimes when I think sci-fi, we talk science fiction, right? I think about stuff that's written off old books, but you know, that's being too specific. I think, right? To have like actual science fiction versus you know, what's ultimately a game story reboot kind of thing. Almost, I'm not going to do it. I can vote for Free Guy on this. I think I can live with that. I'll be okay with it.
All right.
I
You
just-
guys got a vote from the guy that has.
it's unfortunate because this isn't one that we'll be able to resolve if I disagree, right? I mean, where are we going to go?
Yeah, true. Paul, when you get a chance,
Chris Pratt, Tomorrow War. Chris Pratt, Tomorrow War.
You know, I mean, from again, that's what I'm talking about. From a science fiction sort of perspective, that's probably a better choice. Like, it's got the space and aliens and all this other shit, right? And
Time travel, yeah.
fanciful technologies, but it's set in a real world kind of setting.
Fuck yeah, and you're right, and I love Chris Pratt. God damn, Paul.
I mean, to me, like,
You know what? You know what? Fuck that. As much as I loved Free Guy, Tomorrow War was actually good. Yeah, give it to Tomorrow War.
all right, we're gonna switch it up. We're gonna switch it up. All right, Tomorrow War will take it then, just for being very true to the generic science.
Be an
fiction.
actual sci-fi movie, yeah.
It's got all the right elements. All right, so then
I'm sure Chris Pratt needs our help.
yeah. Last but certainly not least is the best overall picture. Last year we gave this to Onward. This sort of embodies everything, right? It's a bit of nostalgia, it's a bit of science fiction, it's good story, it's good characters, right? All coming together as one. So this year we had Spider-Man No Way Home, once again, no surprise, I'm sure. Shang-Chi and Legends of the Ten Rings, Free Guy, the Suicide Squad reboot, and the Venom sequel, Venom 2. Let There Be Carnage.
Mhm.
Uh,
I'm gonna give this to King Richard. Sorry. Fuck it. I know I went first last time. I'm just gonna go first again real quick. Best picture. I'm sorry. Out of all of this, I loved all of them, but Spider-Man No Way Home gave me everything I fucking wanted out of a movie. And I know, like Paul said, it could be the fact that like that's one of the most recent ones I've seen. Still, it gave me everything I wanted, and the way they blended everything together perfectly blew my mind. You know, like I was waiting for the campy shit, and it never really came. I mean, there was, like I said, there's 1 or 2 little moments in there that I was like, but overall, the fucking movie was amazing. So, Spider-Man No Way Home.
yeah, I mean, if I had to go down this list, I mean, it's Spider-Man No Way Home for me too. But I mean, again, it just brings everything together. You know, you got the total geek out moment of the 3 Spider-Mans coming back. You've got the Willem Dafoe performance. You've got a shock moment of Aunt May biting it. You've got a great story. You got a true hero sacrifice at the end. I mean, it just has all the right elements. It's got everything.
And that was what I was going to bring up too. You know what, Paul, go ahead, and then I'm going to bring that up last.
No, I think that's exactly right. And where I was headed in my thoughts, like you go down, just rewind everything we've talked about for the last however long we've been on. Spider-Man No Way Home has all of those elements. Like it's won everything else. Thinking about the story and the shocking moments and the geek outs and all the stuff, how does that not win it?
Yeah, I mean, like
have the single elements and then not put them all together for the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So if you go down and say what are things missing, right? You can find something in every one of these, that there's something missing, except Spider-Man. I don't feel like you're missing anything there. I mean, Shang-Chi has great fight scenes. It is a super surprisingly well done story. The CGI was great. The characters are good. But it's missing things like I don't give a shit about Shang-Chi as a hero, right? There's no nostalgia factor really for him. Right.
Yeah,
and in the end,
every one of these is a great movie in itself, but none of them had everything combined like Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
And the thing I wanted to say was something I read today that blew my mind because I didn't really think about it up until today. Was we keep saying, everyone always says like, Batman, Spider-Man, whatever. They all rehash the same origin story, right? And we gave MCU props for not rehashing the same origin story, right? But when you actually look at the end of this movie, when he's sewn his costume together and he swings off, and you get a quick glimpse of him swinging away, and it's the most comic accurate Spider-Man costume ever put on film. They literally took 3 fucking movies to tell an origin story to get you to a comic accurate Spider-Man. And I was like, holy shit, they really did. It blew my mind to think about that. Like, where they did not tell the origin story, but they still did. And it was really cool. So yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home, best picture, hands down. All right. So do we go into our dumb shit? For those of you who do not listen often or watch often, I have a thing where randomly I make these 2 poor bastards watch a really horrible movie because I like to punish us. And one of our favorite really horrible movies is called Birdemic. Go watch it. It's like if my son and his friends made Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. So this is the I'd Rather Watch Birdemic Award. And the nominees would be Space Jam Legacy, The Book of Boba Fett, but only the Streets of Mos Espa with the Power Rangers on Space Vespas, or Matrix Resurrection. Honestly, I kind of have to go with the Power Rangers on Space Vespas because they were like, all right, I really did not like Space Jam because I don't like LeBron James. But there were little bits of that movie that I enjoyed. I was like, fuck, I'm kind of liking some of this. But those Space Vespas sucked so much dick. I was like, come on. And I actually haven't even gotten through Matrix yet. So I'll go with the Space Vespas. What about you guys?
I haven't seen Space Jam LeBronity because
LeBron Legacy.
Yeah, like no. I the first Space Jam with Michael wasn't all that, and I like Mike way more than I like LeBron. So
you're in the right mindset.
I think I'm gonna agree with you, John, that it's probably the Space Vespas. But Matrix was like one of those things I really wanted. Felt like 20 years later, 18 years later, where the hell it is, like I really did want a Matrix, another sequel. And then it made me realize after watching that it was like the worst thing for the franchise.
Like, yeah. When I first saw the first trailer, I was like, oh shit, okay. I mean, and then the reviews, I was like, ah.
In a lot of ways, it was like a bad reboot. I mean, it just had so many flaws in it. It was just ugh. But that Boba Fett episode,
That's bad.
damn Streets of Mos, oh my goodness. I mean, it literally, everything about it felt wrong, and those things those things could have been in Star Wars, but they sure as fuck didn't belong in Book of Boba Fett, and they sure as fuck didn't belong on Tatooine.
It was Boba Fett and the 5 Dr. Nefarios.
And to make it even worse, like the chase scene, like, I mean, you could have filmed it on bicycles. Like, why the fuck was it so slow?
Yeah.
Like, this is not even an action scene. What is this?
All right. Book of Boba Fett. Oh, shit. Sorry, Boba. All right. So wrap it up real quick. Eric, you want to run through most anticipated movies and TV series, and then we'll wrap it up.
Sure. So most anticipated movies. Are we picking one, or we're just talking about them?
We can talk briefly.
All right. So first is Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Super excited to see it. Super excited to see Wanda, and I don't even know what they're gonna do with this, just based on the trailer, limited trailer shit we've seen. But
Yeah, no, I can't wait, because I know that they're, after the Spider-Man movie and Loki, they're just going balls to the walls. So it's gonna be epic. I can't wait for that one.
yeah, I mean, it seems like they're gonna draw in elements from House of M, Evil Wanda stuff, to what they did in What If with Doctor Strange destroying the universe kind of thing. There's just like so many things happening in the trailer. It's like, oh my God, where the hell is this going?
Yeah.
So
Fox.
yeah. So super excited. Next one is Thor Love and Thunder, which I'm kind of losing my hype for, not for any reason other than I just haven't seen much more about it, and we haven't really talked about it a lot.
Yeah, the only thing I've seen on it recently is the fans are crying because it has not been a trailer, and it actually like beat a record for the least amount of time between a trailer and a movie. Like, we're too close to the movie, but they dropped a picture, and I'll put it on our website. I'll send it to you guys. Taika Waititi, Chris Hemsworth, and what's her face, Valkyrie. They were on a set together. They took a picture and just said, Thor Love and Thunder or whatever. But they all had like different fingers held up, and somebody was like, "Are they giving a code?" And basically, it looked like it said like 11/4/22. So they're wondering if it's like April 11th, they're gonna drop a trailer. So I'll send that to you guys later. But if they do, you heard it here second. 11th, in a few days, you're gonna see a trailer for Thor Love and Thunder. But I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun.
We have the Batman on the list, although at this point, all three of us have seen it. I think we're going to review it next week.
Yeah.
I mean, it was worth the anticipation, I'd say, without going into detail.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. It's most anticipated for a reason.
Although they need toilet seats at the movie theater, because that is fucking long.
I told you, get a catheter. Top Gun Maverick.
So that one comes out next month, May 27th. Again, I'm a little bit losing my excitement for this just because it's been so goddamn long.
Me too.
But I definitely will go see it for sure. Black Adam, which I wasn't super hyped for, but the little 1-minute promo thing they run in front of Batman actually makes it look way cooler than I was thinking.
Yeah, ever since Dwayne Johnson started pushing for that role, I was like, yeah. There were a handful of people born to play a role that you wouldn't think of. Patrick Stewart is Professor X. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam. When he kept pushing, he wanted to do this role, and then you finally see it. I was like, I'm totally on board. I can't wait for this fucking thing. Paul, you've been quiet. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm half asleep.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm interested in this. I think he's going to be great in this. He's not going to be The Rock, which is good, as we saw him in Jungle Cruise and virtually everything else he's in. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm most interested in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever and how we're going to do this, right, without the star of the movie, and how are we going to do this without the actual Black Panther?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Shazam: Fury of the Gods comes out next year. So I love the first Shazam. I thought it was great. So I'm looking forward to this one. Not as high up the list as the rest, but I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Remember, John, they pushed the release date back a little bit. It's December 16th now. It's going to be this year.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right. Because it jumped from this year to next year back to this year again.
Yep.
Shazam! We don't know what time we're in.
Just like that. All right. And then we've got a number of series coming up. We will probably review all of them. Moon Knight, we've already started. So go back and listen to those if you want. The Boys season 3 will be coming out, which I think we're all super excited for.
Yeah.
The Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi series now starts on the 27th instead of the 25th, but they're going to release the first 2 episodes together now. So that will be cool. I am maybe the most excited for that one out of all of these, really.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that one. Just to see Ewan McGregor and to actually give Hayden Christensen a chance to play Darth Vader properly. I'm excited for
it. Picard season 3, which they just released the cast for that. It's going to have everybody from the original TNG in it, basically. LeVar Burton was the one, I think, that put it out on Twitter. He said something like, I could finally talk about this. And then he dropped a picture with like all the names in it. But I know you guys don't watch that, but that will be the 3rd and final season from my understanding. It'll be over after that. And no more Patrick Stewart as Picard.
because he's too busy playing Professor X.
Yeah. I mean, he's also getting really old, and it shows
old.
in the show.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, which is the Amazon exclusive series that's going to be sort of like a prequel to the Lord of the Rings movies. That looks pretty fucking cool.
Good.
The info that's available. The Star Wars Andor series, which I forgot what the release date is, but it's sometime shortly. They haven't announced the formal date yet. It's going to be like summer though. Of this year. And then House of Dragons, which is a new Game of Thrones prequel series, will be coming out. That could be really cool. And then
I hope so, because I really enjoyed Game of Thrones up until the last few episodes.
Yeah, and then until the last episode. And then Mandalorian season 3, which is supposed to be out before Christmas, but that's not official yet. But I'm also stoked about that, of course.
Sweet. So yeah, we've got a lot to look forward to. Paul, you got anything else?
I do not. I'm looking forward to missing a bunch of these and apologizing to you guys for not seeing them.
Maybe we should just review everything like 8 months after it comes out or something. Then we'll be fine.
That'll be our thing. We are late to the party review.
Yeah, we'll tardy to the party. Sorry.
What we can do is we can time our reviews with when it's released, not on streaming for pay, but on streaming for free.
Right.
That's when we'll start doing this.
Nice. See, look, we've got a plan. You just didn't know.
6 months. Our 6 month late review.
All right, sweet. So nobody's got anything else, and it's getting fucking late. Guys, look, let us know what you thought of our Geeky Awards ceremony. What other topics you want to see us cover in the awards. and who you would have voted for. Comment down below, like, subscribe, ring a bell. Hit us up at whatifgeeks.com, whatifgeeks@gmail.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And we will see you next year for the next Geekies. And we will see you next week for whatever reviews we decide to do.
Moon Knight and Batman.
Yeah, Batman and Moon Knight episode 3. And that's all we got for you tonight. Good night, Tony.
Good night. All the movies I haven't seen yet.
Good night, Aunt May. Forever.
Oh my God, I hate you.